Now that we know where we're aiming, under what conditions is that result most likely to happen? Whether in our personal lives, our professional lives, our community lives, our power to imagine and then create favorable cause and effect conditions towards our dreams, that is our superpower. And because it is people who will create the results, that superpower resides in our ability to create the necessary conditions for people to have the best possible outcome. Knowing what we know about how the brain works, what conditions will lead to the most favorable results for all those people? What would people need to know and feel and believe? Let's go back to the AIDS Coalition. Their vision statement was for a community where everyone is free to live healthy, vital lives. The questions they asked, therefore, were all about the people in that community. In order to be free to live those healthy lives, what did the people in the community need to feel? What did they need to have? What did they need to believe and know? The AIDS Coalition noted that people would need to feel a sense of commitment and a sense of justice and fairness. Continuing to walk backwards, we asked those same questions again, this time about the conditions they already noted. What would lead people to feeling a sense of justice? Well, before desiring justice for everyone, they'd probably need to feel compassion. And in order for them to feel compassion, what would they need to feel? What would they need to have? Well, they need to feel connected to other people. We can't have compassion if we don't feel some human connection. And then asking again, okay, so then what would lead to people feeling that sense of connection? Knowing the rest of the story for the AIDS Coalition, you can see that their eventual actions were not aimed at the high potential outcome of healthy, vital lives. That would have been taking action towards the final domino before the first one had ever been set in place. They instead aimed their actions at that first domino, knowing that this will lead to that, causes creating effects that would, yes, absolutely, lead to everyone being free to live healthy, vital lives. You can also see how these questions, asked again and again, created a logical path that your mind's eye could follow, perhaps even noting, yeah, that makes sense. And finally, you can see how gracefully and logically the idea of volunteering side by side with the people they wanted to connect with, how that idea seems to have emerged rather than been forced. This is what it feels like when the future is pulling us forward, when we feel swept along, letting causality do the heavy lifting. Eventually, as you keep taking steps backwards, determining the causes and effects that will create the path to your goal, you'll notice that conditions and preconditions for success become narrower and more close to home. What started with the rather lofty vision of people living healthy, vital lives has walked its way back to people feeling connected to each other, people needing to hear stories. That is when actions begin to almost scream at us. Sharing stories? We know how to do that. Creating an inclusive environment? We know how to do that. The questions in this action area are therefore all about prioritizing, narrowing our focus. Which of these conditions will we seek to shift? With the AIDS group, it was compassion and connection. What actions will we take? The answer seemed to effortlessly reveal itself.